should get a pose bonus.
The doof can do a stretchy.
This is fairly common behavior, but you captured exactly the right moment. Because
so there is
there's some
depth to the pose.
Yeah, there's some shenanigans, like, for example, here, this is a thing he does in his idle animation, but it's not a different pose, whereas for Swana, it was.
And then background is because of the fact that...
There's water, maybe.
Yeah, where it's related to its biome.
That's a pose. I had no idea that was a thing it did. What? There's no easy shot to get. I mean, it's a very slow-moving Pokemon. It was actually very easy.
Did you see what it said, though? This is a very common pose. It's not an easy shot to get. It's common, but it's not easy to get.
That's a Pokemon.
Look, it's Emolga's butt.
Yeah, I never realized its tail was like that.
That it spiked out into 3?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Placement is perfect, though. Not gonna criticize the fact that I'm taking a picture from behind. Professor Oak would be mad at me for that. People at Pokemon are disappointed. Because we're doing this for them.
Perfect timing.
Timing? I don't know. I mean, it's centered, certainly.
Got a gold.
Oh, yeah, because the Comfey in there helped, and the Vivillon.
Vivillon. So other Pokemon also add.
Yes, just not a lot. And that's a good one. Even though, I mean, there's nothing, the pose is nothing, but everything else is great.
It's looking at.
I get a diamond, but okay.
I like that Dark is basically the first Pokémon.
It's a while until you can actually photograph it, though.
Great timing.
This is its natural state, looking up, yes. Oh, that's my first diamond? Okay.
In this game, you mean?
Yeah,
In this round?
Yeah.
Howat. Nothing like part of its butt and foot. How's that 500 points? Is that the minimum?
Probably. I get the direction score. The place is good. It's very well centered.
But that's also a bad understanding of how biological photography would be as well. Because biological photography wouldn't only be just the face, or else you wouldn't be picking up extra data on perhaps its build or, you know, its body.
Well, we want the Pokemon to be happy with it.
Did we go interview the Pokemon after we took their photo? Hey, what do you think of this photo of you?
We need at least retroactive consent. Yeah, good score for it, I think. Might even got the thing there.
You don't even need retroactive consent in the United States for taking photo of people normally.
Oh, dang. Your research levels up, it actually changes events that happen in the course, which is neat.
Oh, it adds more unusual things.
It's mysterious how it affects things, but...
but it does more stuff.
Right. Which also worries me that certain things might...
Go away.
Right.
There's missables.
And you can always...
Lower your score by taking worse photos.
But it's hard to know when you... No, you can, go back and choose what level you go to the course.
Oh.
But it's hard to tell when you want to do that. You may see Pokemon behave in ways you haven't seen before. We're not going to explain why, because we really can't.
It also... Yeah, no, you literally can't explain why, because why would your hypothetical piece of paper level information have anything to do with the behavior of creatures that may or may not really care about your existence?
This means getting photographs of them in every category, from 1 to 4. So short, fill out that photo dex. Keep that in mind, and you'll be on the right track.
So everything has 4 poses?
I believe so, yes.
Everything has exactly 4?
No more, no less. Oh. Did you ever guess it was your first trip out there? I mean...
I can honestly expect that a Caterpie has more poses than a Metapod.
Fair. These little things you do, put flourishes on pictures and such. I've never really done much of that.
Can you do filters?
I'm sure. Well,
can you make them give a peace sign in their photos? Victini, you hopefully can. If Victini were in the game, you would have to be able to do victory signs. Baudino are friendly companions to Promessor Führer.
Forever remembered Stout Man. Oh no, I'm being abducted. That covers just about everything.
There it is, Laser Eye Girl! Ah!
I mean, her eyes are laser colored, too. Can we go to a nighttime photo shoot later?
No, it's illegal.
Not yet, but soon. I have a little more practice. Oh, no, we can't do that until night.
That would be a better answer. We can't do a night shot because it's daytime.
Wait over here and come back to the lab to look at your photo decks anytime. I often did see which of my Pokemon have the lowest scores.
Yeah, so that you can see how you can upgrade your
Right.
level.
That's my priority target, and then find out it's like being stubborn and annoying. I was thinking worried about that when you start.
Can we take a picture of Stoutland yet?
No, but we will be able to.
And Eevee? And what else was in the background? There was something else.
Audino, Denny,
Yeah,
Starly.
Audino, like I said, is... Audino and Chansey are beanbag Pokemon.
Not as much as Snorlax and Dragonite, but...
Yeah, Dragonite is the beanbaggest dragon.
Gudra
Snorlax
is a soggy beanbag,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you want that.
it's like a pool floaty.
But it's...
It chooses not to float sometimes.
Well, don't want to keep me longer. Have a good time and snap some photos. Well,
Although I can say it must not be too much of an interference because you see Gudra give hugs to the owner and they seem okay with it.
I've never seen this before.
Secret Path Date.
Is this like free DLC thing? I have not heard of any of these. Why? What? Is it because I'm playing on a Japanese file? That'd be dumb.
That's also not how lentils spell.
I was playing that earlier this...
You do get filters.
I was playing it like just last month. I didn't have this.
Who knows?
Hearts. Balloons. A bandana.
Oh, but is that for Pichu?
I don't know, it'll be hard to get it on things, but... Frame.
Yeah, it is weird to have ones like that because they'd have to be basically
Perfect.
profile photo to work.
Are you headed out?
Like you could give either of them the bandana, except that he's wearing goggles, which would make it kind of
Well, you
weird.
said take them off. Before you go, let me tell you one more thing you can do there. You can like shoot fruit from it. What? You can run a scan. Oh, right.
Hello, there are Pokémon coming.
Looking details like your surroundings. It tells you got nearby Pokemon and points out anything unusual.
Like that crystal that you took a picture of.
Yeah. Hey, Professor, what is unusual? You never give me a solid answer.
Well, it's when there's something illegal in the environment.
Basically, anything that makes the system go, check this out. So no, I'm still not going to tell you how it works.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's all the detail we're going to get. This is so sad.
His response starts with, yep.
We can thank everyone who tried. Rita, would you mind demonstrating?
Yeah.
Need to meet Professor. Alright. Get that camera. We can't take pictures of them because they don't exist.
This is an example of the type of tutorial that gives you useful information,
It actually
but
shows,
is really, really distracting.
at the very least, it makes you do it yourself.
Yeah.
Which is a lot better than just...
Give you text and then kind of hope you comprehend what they're talking
Your
about.
scan's easy. Just push the button.
You saw that Pokemon's name pop up, right?
Yeah, I also see
No.
confusion.
And did you also notice that question mark?
She's gonna eat me. Help. I'm scared.
First, move the pointer over the question mark. Did you see the pointer change?
Yes,
That's your cue.
he's like, no, I want to... Oh, I thought he was getting into the frame, but no, he's just leaving.
Give it a try.
No.
Now you should see the
Oh. How is this useful, camera? I wasn't going to miss that.
Come to think of it, I heard that a friend of the professor's came up with the name Neo1.
Is it because it has all the same letters both ways?
Yo,
No one, no one, no one. Play it backwards, you'll understand what the hell we're doing.
Oh, that'll show you. I say, hey, you might want to scan.
Sorry,
It
Roz.
detected something that it wants you to run a scan for, which means it already detected it, really, but... I'm glad it tells you.
There's one more cool thing you should know about
This is important.
some Pokemon will react to the sound and electrical signal.
Oh, will it cause them to look at you?
Sometimes. Not often, but sometimes.
Is it electric Pokemon?
I don't know. It doesn't know you have all these tools. I'm like, alright, it's not looking at me. Which tool will make it look at me? So I start throwing all sorts of stuff at it.
So you have to do the course dozens of times because there's no stop in any of these.
Unless you get something to get in your way.
Yeah, interfere with
Only
your movement.
Executor has done that to me so far. Well, and
The Moltres
Beautifly.
egg.
Beautifly loves Beautifly.
Moltres egg.
Eggy. What you gave? You sort of crash into?
Yeah, the egg you crash into, and it gives you an opportunity to use Charmander as a pinball.
I dreamed of playing that.
Your hands to snap a photo.
Is it on the thing?
Yeah, they had a pack for like the deluxe when you get the N64 stuff.
Oh.
And that was a very unpopular decision. He calls it
And
accidental
very
say
predictable
cheese
decision.
feature. It
I'm
also
still
gives you
not a
Sega-
fan of Nintendo.
It also
by
gives
the
you
way.
Sega Genesis games, but no one cares.
It doesn't give you the Sonic games because of the
It
Origins
does,
thing.
I think. Oh, right. When all the other providers like had those taken away, the Switch like kept onto them for some reason.
Thank you.
Even for free lasers. Don't hesitate to run a scan. Well, I can't do it now. I'll tell you a lot about your surroundings.
You were close.
That Eevee's up to something.
Hello.
Good, I was saying. You're not just sitting here a second time without any new abilities, are you?
Florio Park.
Oh, right.
I could have leveled up probably if I'd been a bit better. But
Do you do a different path at night?
not normally, but what night is pretty different.
Well, yeah, because different Pokémon are awake at different times. Hey, you arrived at the key.
Have fun.
Didn't get a good cookie last time. Yeah, that's good.
There's grass.
I got. Yeah, that's how they made me like. What the
Does
hell?
that count as pose 3 or something?
I don't think it does, but it could. Oh. Oh, it's. Oh. Oh, I thought it was like. Oh, that didn't count as anything. I thought it was like. And the mushroom. They like noticed but didn't really do anything. Oh.
Bouffalant. That is a Pokemon we both forget exists.
Yes. It's like. It's like. Oh, should be evolved for a Taurus that isn't as.
Yeah, even though all of the other...
Alomomola
Yeah, Alomomola is another.
is the poster for.
Should have been an evolution, but wasn't.
Doof noticed? Oh no, he's scared of camera. What?
Oh, it's telling you
It's
about
charred
Fruit.
on the ground. The Pokemon do this, and that's what cued me to that. Oh, can you look? Oh, you did not like that. Oh.
Oh, you got it flying, too.
That's a different pose, probably. It should be. Oh. Oh, yeah, there's that. That thing from earlier that we didn't care about.
But now you suddenly do.
I think they're out of range. There's big grass. I need like a lawnmower attachment to my camera.
Do the scanning if it doesn't. They do all.
Oh, I missed the all. Birds. Did not like. Makes sense. Yes.
It go. Ah!
It wants to eat camera.
Pichu definitely will have to if it's an electrical signals thing.
It's also a sound.
Magnemite will really like it.
Hey, Grookey, can you?
So these two are actual friends.
They seem to be. Grookey is kind of baby. No, Pichu doesn't seem to care.
He's just inside that grass.
Oh no, he does look startled by it, but just very briefly. The grass is eating him. He didn't know what to do. Oh, there's a thingy.
I can't believe that in a AAA company's title, they couldn't have given some physics to the plants to make them move when something's occupying its space. Eh.
The boot's like, heck this.
Where's the Lapras?
Far away.
Do you have to throw apples at it to make it
I
Gyarados?
Who has an unusual way of sleeping? Always on one foot. I wouldn't say he's on one foot.
Yeah, it looks more like it just got stuffed into the hole and fell over.
And it just passed out.
Does that mean Hoothoot is a flamingo?
Oh, it does have like an animation thing. I didn't notice because I always expected just to make it look at me. So what do you do if I shoot it would whip at you? Very stoic. Very.
So Vivillon is large.
They're singing. Bye.
The birds are singing.
Isn't it birds?
Isn't it beautiful?
It's time.
Let's repose, okay?
Oh, it's doing something.
I don't know what that was, but that counts as something. They're gonna ask me to do that later, possibly.
Yeah, to make it trigger event.
It's a flower.
To be fair, taking photos of plants is great.
Do you see how quick it turned?
Yeah, it just
Nope.
switched
Nope, it's like,
locations.
oh no, photograph.
It switched angles. Vivillon.
It's the Pokemon.
It rhymes. Eevee.
Welcome back.
Well,
Welcome
the
back!
exclamation mark means I have a new pose of oh.
So Vivillon doesn't. There's one where it's with
This
friend.
is a new pose.
There's one with a new friend. Yeah.
Oh, they all are new. Like, oh, this is a picture of
I like the
Grookey.
3. The 3 is really good. Time to run away.
But I like Pichu was actually closer to the center.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
that's
one's really
definitely
good.
best.
It's a good pose.
What's the new pose? Oh.
The
Oh,
looking
it-
at you.
Don't scan. Did not consent.
This is definitely Florges. Off on the side.
I need to go.
Yep.
Help me.
I told you should. The thing. He's got a felly tone call. He's got to make a schedule. So it'll be it's the video games time. In just a second. I think he just moved the controller. Oh no. Press LR on the controller. It's broken. It's all bad. Help me. I can't be interesting on my own, can I? I have reflux. It's the worst. Where's my soda pop? Did I finish it? I must have. I think this was it. I finished my soda pop. Don't have it. I had reflux and now my throat's like it make you cough all the time. Ooh. So, as we were discussing the other day, I'm pretty sad about Rain World not being as well put together with its motions as I would like. The game is beautiful. I was disappointed in the, it didn't feel like there was any sense of motion, and it seemed like there were some arbitrary things that weren't very enjoyable. Tunic, on the other hand. Oh yeah, I never did my review of Tunic. Tunic is absolutely adorable. I really, really enjoyed Tunic. I would enjoy more developments by that creator. If they ever did some sort of sequel, I'd be down. It definitely has the potential to be a indie Link's Awakening kind of thing. Or indie Legend of Zelda. It has those feels. I'm very curious about where the weird discovery thing goes. And I have no idea how you would have figured it out normally. But the art was great. The sound and music direction was really, really good. I really enjoyed, especially the sounds of the Siege Engine, which I kind of mentioned a few times. I thought that was pretty good. The amount there was to do was really interesting. There's a couple times where it seemed like it was done when it technically wasn't. There's a really, really awesome sense of discovery in the game. So I really enjoyed that a lot. It really felt like you were discovering things when you found things in that game. It didn't feel like, okay, go do the thing and then go do the next thing kind of gameplay. It actually felt like you were going through and finding that there was something to do, or seeing something and then trying to figure out the best way to access it. I really enjoyed that aspect. I was gonna be a little partial since foxes are my favorite animal, so I was trying not to let that color my opinion too much. The variety of stuff to do is kind of fun, for being able to change the colors of your character, to the actual gameplay kind of stuff, to seeking side exploration things that literally don't affect the actual ending, to going back and rediscovering what you can do with your abilities later, which is kind of a staple of Legend of Zelda type games, is going back to certain areas. I'm curious about a couple of the things, like finding the sword and then saying you already have one. Like, there's some reason you might do that, but it's an actual chest that you can open. So I don't know whether there's something that was missing there. And I don't know how many chests we missed. That was one thing I did not go back and do. So I don't know for sure how many were kind of, oh, that's dumb, you're never gonna find it chests. There were a few where the fact we found them by mistake was definitely an indication to us that you need to basically be paranoid about any corner you can't see. And when you find out after trying to blow things up at one point and it not working that there are other places that you can blow up, was kind of annoying, because I urged him to use explosives on a wall at one point and it didn't do anything, and it just happened to be the wrong one. The story was... yeah, I don't like how easy it is to get the bad ending, that there's no, like, neutral ending. What were some other things I was going to address? The controls seem pretty okay. I kept mixing up how to exit the pause button when I was screwing around with it. I kept switching weapons when I would do it. I think Gizzy did it a few times as well. So that's a thing about weapon switch on the pause screen kind of situations. What else was there? I feel like I'm missing a big gap. Oh, the manual, of course. The whole central focus of the game, the manual, the fact that you discover it and you can do the things if you know what's in the manual before you're doing stuff, but that you can discover those things later, is really, really cool. I like that. And I also like the idea of the manual itself being part of... it's one of the best times I've ever seen an electronic manual used to full potential, because it being part of game data as opposed to being a physical item does lend itself to a lot of opportunities you don't have with the physical. I prefer physicals just because I like physical objects, tangible objects in my hand. But the fact that you can do things like that, even you, it did some things that it missed some opportunities, for example, that it could have done. That, like, if you go and switch your character color, the manual could have that color on the manual for your character. That would have been a nice touch. I'm torn on the language part. They executed it in an exemplary fashion, that there is a bunch of text that you do not need to be able to read to play the game. But if you're interested and want to translate it, there is a lot of bonus information there. The downside, though, is it feels less immersive to me as a player. Because if I don't understand what's going on, I'm definitely missing out on things. So the fact that there's no translation is pretty disappointing in my mind and heart. I don't know what the solution would be for that, though, because it does pretty much unlock a lot of the bonuses. Maybe if you had more sparing use of the language, I think the biggest part of it, I think, is actually how complicated the language is to translate. The fact that it's kind of based off Hangul, but that it's used for English is kind of difficult because you have to completely change the way you're learning about language to do that for an English speaker. But it also is kind of frustrating because it's not something where you can have a guide and just flip it. You have to pick because so one of the things I didn't really point to in talking about the way the language works is the way Hangul works. If you don't know, Hangul has different parts of the character that stay the same depending on what letter, pronunciation, phonetic sound is exhibited. So if you change this, the other parts of that syllable's pronunciation stay the same, but this part would change how it sounds. So like la and lo and those kinds of things. The symbol is partly the same but different. That's why I kept saying that it looked like it was based off of Korean in style. The difficulty of that, though, is that means that each character, each letter, doesn't have just one symbol for one pronunciation of a sound. It has the pronunciation of a syllable, which means that the character, I can't just recognize that's the letter A, that's a letter B, that's the letter C. And the other thing with that is because of the fact that letters have different pronunciations in English, your letter A can be ah or ah or ah or other sounds that you can do. The same thing doesn't always mean, okay, that's the letter A either. So you have to know the whole phonetic of what you're saying to even figure out the word, which means you have to translate numerous characters just to even figure out what letter you're looking at, to some extent, especially with vowels. So it's really frustrating, and it doesn't make it easy to comprehend for that and get the value out of it. But that said, I'm very impressed by the language system they used because it really does require concentration and creativity to come up with an idea like that. And everything has consistent style. It's not like, oh, there's all these and then one curly one because I didn't know what else to do, or this one goes outside of it. Everything fits inside those little diamonds. The execution of the things in the game, I think, is pretty well done all around. However, what's being executed could, on occasion, subtract from what I value in the game, I suppose. It's not even fair to do the awful taste but great execution kind of claim, because I do think that there's good taste in it. It's just about how much it can subtract from immersion or enjoyment. If you're wanting to get all of that text content and all of the information that is being said in the game, you can absolutely enjoy it. But say I were to try and translate the entire thing for our playthrough, if I hadn't done every single line of dialogue before doing the stream, we would probably still be on like the first chapter. I mean, there's a lot of sitting and changing all the things to get the sound pronunciations and getting it all switched around. And there's just enough dialogue and there's just enough to say that it feels like it would take a long time to do. And while there is a value